Okay, so we're back here, and I want to continue on with the addressing should Jehovah's Witnesses be banned. I'm going to finish up with the gentleman we were listening to, part five. I think it was part five. Anyway, here he is again.
Been
Joe.
as bad as what happened to a lot of these people, but um, this group has affected the lives of many people too. You have to consider higher education is looked at as independent thinking. So you're not encouraged to go and better yourself with an education, which is kind of crazy nowadays, anyways, if you want to be in debt for the rest of your life, which sucks. But hey, if you can do it and you want to, you should be able to. Um, so that's also not an option. So if you're considering these things, um, if you're considering being a Jehovah's Witness, please ask yourself these questions. Talk to an ex Jehovah's Witness. Find out the inside information because they're going to tell you the truth. Not just because they're disgruntled, but if they had a good reason for leaving, maybe you should know what that is. So you don't have to touch the fire to know that it's hot. Um, Please heed people who have left, heed their warning. Stay away from this group. Um, Look into it. Look into Charles Taze Russell. Look into the end of the world predictions that Jehovah's Witnesses have made. They've predicted the end of the world many times.
Yeah, that's something else I find very, very troubling and I'm concerned with. The Bible clearly makes it clear no one knows the day nor the hour. No one knows when the end is coming, not even the Son. So for them to make, they had 4 or 5 predictions, like 5 predictions where they said the end of the world is coming, 1975, 1914, and 3 or 4 other years that they clearly said the end is here, the end is coming. How are you going to sit here and say 19, let's stay alive until 1975? How are you going to do that? That's definitely false prophets. I wasn't even thinking about that, like thinking clearly, but yeah, it's clear. Jesus Christ made Jesus don't even know. Now what's up?
And if you read Deuteronomy, I don't know if it's 18 or 19, verses 18 through 20 or something like that. Grab your Bible, check it out. If people prophesy in God's name and it doesn't come true, they've been labeled as false prophets and they even deserve to die,
Yep,
according to the Bible.
that's what it says.
Consider these things, please. Move through your life with love, motivating you in all that you do, not fear. This is a group that will motivate you in fear and judgment, and nothing you do will ever be good enough. And they will find you at your door when somebody you loved has died, or you're in a really bad place. And they're going to offer you all these wonderful hopes about paradise and resurrection, but they won't tell you about the child molestation cover ups. They won't tell you about the occult practices because they don't even know a lot of that. They're told not to look outside. That people that are critical thinking people are mentally diseased. So if you're okay with that, by all means, join this group. Become a part of it. It is your life. Do what you want with it. But look at the people that are suffering. They'll never speak to their mothers and fathers, sons and daughters again because this group has told them that they're bad people. And they'll go into their graves, never speaking to their loved ones again while they're alive here on earth. Um, but these are the kind of divisions that this group makes, saying that just by simply disagreeing with that, whether you're doing bad things or not, you're no longer accepted here. You can no longer have your family. So if you're okay with those values and those ideals, um, and this is the group that you choose, um, that's your choice. I'm just telling you, and many other XJWs are telling you to be careful. Um, we knocked on your door when we were witnesses because we did love people. And we did love you. And we did have the courage that it took. That no matter what you thought of us, we believed that we were trying to help you. We still are like that. We're still those kind of people, and we're trying to help you now and warn you that, hey, when we knocked on your door, we didn't know this stuff, and we're sorry.
Yeah, he's right about that. We're very sorry. I mean, I brought in what, 5 or 6 people into this organization. You know, I brought in 6 people. Wait a minute, 7 people. I brought in 7 people into the organization. Check that out. And if the lawyer wouldn't have whatever, I would have hopefully have brought her in too. The lawyer, the attorney. But anyway, they said, like he said, just be careful. And the reason why we were out there like that is because we didn't know. All of this information, Jesus Christ is just now revealing this because we are told, like I said, I believe, leave it in Jehovah's hands. Leave it in Jehovah's hands. He's going to handle it. He's going to handle it. And he's handling it. Yes, he is. Just like I knew.
But now we're trying to protect you from making a mistake and joining a group that can cause and has caused so much pain to so many people and has literally ended lives and continues to do so. So be careful. Make your decisions with love. That's my advice, not fear. And please be a critical thinker and an independent thinker. That's what makes you beautiful. Share your love and your light if you can. Um, and don't be afraid to question these things and to look and check, because you will be told not to when you study. So maybe I'll.
That's right. Follow what Jehovah's telling you to do, what Jesus Christ is telling you to do. They keep telling you to look into things, to keep testing things. There's false prophets out here. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Really. Okay, and now you're going to see further the reason why I'm telling you to please, 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 I beg you so desperately, be careful. Here we go.
In June, 53-year-old Mark Sewell from Barry was jailed for 14 years after being found guilty of 8 historic sex offences. The judge at Merthyr Crown Court said Sewell had used his position of power as an elder in the Jehovah's Witnesses to exploit and abuse women and children. It's a paedophile's
Hold on, my darlings. Okay, we're back.
because of the way the two-witness rule protects the paedophile, the sex abuser, over and above that of the child.
Wait, what did he say? I missed that. I missed it. Okay.
Judge at Merthyr Crown Court said Sewell had used his position of power as an elder in the Jehovah's Witnesses to exploit and abuse women and children. It's a paedophile's paradise because of the way the two-witness rule protects the paedophile, the sex abuser, over and above that of the child.
Now you heard what they said? It's a pedophile's paradise. This is what is being heaped on Jehovah's name? Really?
Been 25 similar convictions in Jehovah's Witness congregations across the UK in the last 4 years. Tonight, 2 of Mark Sewell's victims talked to Wales This Week, claiming that the organisation has kept allegations of abuse hidden.
Alarm bell should have been ringing after more than one person had named Mr. Sewell. He'd done stuff previous to other people.
I don't know whether they think they're outside of the law or whether they just don't want the law finding out about what's going on.
If you're prepared to die for your flock, I think you should be prepared to come to court for your flock.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
It's been described as the greatest preaching campaign the world has ever known. Jehovah's Witnesses are a close-knit community of evangelical Christians well known for going door to door, handing out literature about their faith. They do not have blood transfusions, serve in the military, celebrate Christmas or birthdays. But now claims are emerging from some past and present members of the church that there may be a pattern of sex abuse that the organisation has not only failed to report, but has actually helped to keep from the authorities.
He would sort of lay next to me and pull me up on top of him. He would get into bed with me in the night wearing just his underpants. He came into the bathroom when I was in the shower.
Karen Morgan was 12 when Mark Sewell started abusing her. She reported it to her parents, but she was told she had misunderstood her uncle's affections.
They didn't like to think that somebody who supposedly loves Jehovah would be doing things like that to me.
Karen and her family were members of the Kingdom Hall in Barry. As another member of the congregation, Mark Sewell was not only a brother to them in church terms, he also became a real member of the family after he married Karen's aunt.
It went without saying, I guess, that I became close to Mark. I used to stay over their house every Thursday night. Most weekends we would all be at their house.
It was when she was about 12 or 13. She told me that she didn't like the way Mark was kissing her.
This is her father, and he used to be a former elder. So since they say former elder, I guess he left after that. Molesting his daughter. Come on already.
I simply thought that she meant he was being a bit over-friendly, touching, kissing when we got there or when we left. So the whole thing went over my head. A few months later, she said to me again she didn't like the way Mark was kissing her. On both occasions, I actually went to see Mark and said, do you mind toning down the affection, because Karen's probably a bit embarrassed. I had no idea that what she was actually trying to say was that there was something more going on.
Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the Bible is a literal translation of God's word. It says when a brother has sinned, you should first confront him before going elsewhere. Karen was now in a particularly awkward situation. She had to face Sewell in a series of meetings at his home.
It was really embarrassing to have to sit in front of my auntie and my mum and dad and him, so I just kept it quite brief. And he just sat there and said, oh no, she's lying, or no, she's misunderstood that.
With no one fully grasping what was happening to her, the abuse continued for another 2 years.
I was 16, I was a mess by this point. I was self-harming. I was still going to meetings 3 times a week. And 2 of those meetings, him and my auntie were there.
Mark and Cora are 2 former Jehovah's Witnesses who now campaign to give a voice to victims like Karen. Based in Cheltenham, the couple helped launch Advocates for the Awareness of Watchtower Abuses, or OUR. The Watchtower is the Jehovah's headquarters in New York. Mark and Cora feel the church is instilling a culture of undue influence which violates the basic human rights of its members, especially in the protection of children.
We are trying to change the whole policy of the way that they look at the individual that's being accused, because this is somebody that can continue to carry on abusing people. They don't see it as a crime. They see it as a sin. They see it as a weakness of that person.
The couple say it was only through the campaign that they started to become aware of the scale of what was really happening. The same story was being repeated around the world.
The secrecy surrounding any allegations of abuse, of molestation or rape, are so tightly controlled by the organisation that most Jehovah's Witnesses, your average witness, does not know anything about it.
Each congregation is served by a body of elders who are there to help, guide and protect the 100-strong congregation. In the 2 years that Karen was being abused, businessman Sewell had been made a church elder. He was now in a position of considerable trust, making it much harder for Karen to be believed. It was only when she decided to write it all down that eventually it did go before a committee of elders.
That was the shocking document. It was the first time when she was about 16 that we realised that what had been going on was not just over-affectionate, but it was actually inappropriate touching and worse.
It is common practice for the elders to set up a judicial committee to investigate the allegation. Karen would have to face her abuser once again.
It was me and my dad and 3 elders, plus Mark, all sitting in a little room at the Kingdom Hall, with the elders saying, right, tell us what he did to you.
Wales This Week spoke to the former head of South Wales CID, Wyn Phillips, who now specialises in child protection issues. He stresses that the victim should always be the main priority in any investigation.
You can't just assume that a victim will want to face a perpetrator, a suspect. I mean, it's very dangerous. These investigations must be victim-based. They must take into consideration the anxieties, the distress, the feelings of the victim.
It was one word against another, and it also hinged on a literal translation from the Bible.
They have this two-witness rule which covers everything. So it could be that someone smoked. They would have to be seen by two separate people. Or it could be that a child has been abused and that abuse would have to be seen by two separate people. Well, when does anyone ever see a child get abused?
It's a paedophile's paradise because of the way the two-witness rule protects the paedophile, the sex abuser, over and above that of the child.
Mark and Cora say the fundamental reasons there's such an issue revolve around the misguided application of the two-witness rule and the instruction that elders must handle accusations internally.
The elders do one thing, and they're under a strict instruction to do this, and that's to go straight to branch office.
I mean, that's one thing I also freak out with. Common sense. You know, common sense is not so common as they say. Common sense alone would tell you who's going to rape a child with two witnesses watching. Just two people standing there watching you rape a kid. Who is going to do that? I mean, it just hurts my brain to think that they can't figure that out themselves. Are you serious? Oh. Anyway, hold on. Okay, now we heard.
Think about.
Hold on. We heard from them. I'm just going briefly from several different videos that was sent to me and that was brought to my attention. So I'm trying to get them as many up here as I possibly can. So here's another situation. It says Jehovah's Witnesses in trouble. Let's look.
The apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles.
Other disturbing information about child abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses. Church representatives revealed that more than 1,000 members have been identified as child sexual abusers since 19...
Now take a look. This is CNN News. Who don't know about CNN News? This is why I'm trying to say Jehovah's Witnesses, do they look at the news? Do they even look at the news? This is right here. Royal hearing on sex abusers, 1,000 plus identified.
1950. The commission...
Hold on, let me see. Let me backtrack on this. Hold up. Oh, wait. Hold on, I gotta fast forward it again. Hold up. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it here.
Jehovah's Witnesses. Church...
Wait, hold up. Okay, we're talking from him again.
The organization is permissive toward pedophiles.
Other disturbing information about child abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses. Church representatives revealed that more than 1,000 members have been identified as child sexual abusers since 1950. The commission learned that of those hundreds of cases, none was reported to police. An elder testified that its church practiced not to report sexual abuse, but rather to adopt a scriptural response to allegations. Emma Hannigan with Australia's SBS has been following the hearing. She joins us now live from Sydney. So Emma, this is a wide-ranging royal commission. It started with allegations of child sexual abuse, into the Catholic Church. Now it's investigating the JWs, Jehovah's Witnesses. The evidence so far has been particularly damning.
It certainly has, Joan. I mean, the Royal Commission heard that, as you said, 1950, 1,006 alleged abusers have been identified to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, that was 1,006 people, not 1,006 cases, so we don't know how many cases were, but none of these were reported to authorities. Instead, what the church would do is they would investigate the claims themselves. This often involved bringing the abuser and their victims together to discuss their claims of abuse. A victim, identified only as BCB, was groomed and sexually abused by Bill Neal, a respected elder, from the age of 15. When the abuse finally emerged, she was summoned to a meeting of elder men that included her abuser. Bill Neal, who's now dead, admitted the abuse.
I found the experience of reporting my abuse to a room full of men, including the man who had abused me, very distressing.
She was also asked not to discuss the abuse with anyone else out of respect for her abuser and his family.
Thinking back, I now see that I was being asked to respect the man who had done those things to me. but nobody was offering me any respect or proper support.
The Royal Commission heard that of the 1,006 alleged abusers identified to the Jehovah's Witnesses since 1950, not one single person had been reported to police. This evidence was borne out by the testimony of one of the church elders, who himself had investigated a case of abuse.
Now, where's that woman who said, oh no, that's not with Jehovah's Witnesses, that's just in the Catholic Church? In the previous videos, when the guy was sitting up there going to the carts and he was trying to warn the people and trying to tell the people to be careful, watch your children, and just be careful. And she said, oh no, that's not within Jehovah's Witnesses, that's in the Catholic Church. Well, honey, this is CNN News Live. She really needs to take this is an eye-opener, put it that way.
And what about telling other authorities? Are you aware of your obligations if someone tells you of a serious allegation of sexual assault?
Well, we don't report it to the police. I think we encourage them to do that, but we give them the assistance to do that if they need that.
Church elders could now face criminal charges for concealing the abuse. The Commission also heard that the church only believed victims if the alleged abuser confessed or there were 2 witnesses.
The requirement that there be 2 or more witnesses has prevented at least 125 allegations of child sexual abuse from proceeding to a judicial committee.
The hearing into the Jehovah's Witnesses is expected to continue for 2 weeks. The Commission heard from another elder today who also investigated BCB's case. It was told that when he was informed the woman was considering bringing her story to the Royal Commission, he asked what that would accomplish other than dragging Jehovah's name through the mud. Now, he has admitted that this wasn't perhaps the most sympathetic approach to take.
Well, he's talking about what good would that do? It's just going to drag Jehovah's name through the mud. What does this organization think that they're doing? What do they think they're doing?
And also today, the Commission has been dealing with the actual response by church elders when young women allege that they were sexually abused by members of the church.
Well, church elder today, Joe Bellows, said that the church recommends a biblical response to the trauma caused by sexual abuse. The Commission heard from 2 abuse survivors who felt so unsupported by the church that they had both attempted suicide. Now, they say that they've never been offered any compensation, they were never offered any counselling, and the church themselves has said that perhaps this is something that they need to consider. But they certainly aren't jumping to commit to anything at the moment.
Covering up child molesting. We ask that when a little child comes crying to you that she's been molested by Jehovah's Witnesses, we ask that you phone the police, phone the social services, phone anybody, but don't cover it up. Phone anybody, but don't cover up child molesting. Jesus wouldn't do it.
No, Jesus Christ most certainly wouldn't do that. No, he would not. So, anyway, there you have it. And it's just people trying to help protect innocent people and trying to, my concerns with the organization is the way they bust up families. That's just ridiculous. That's just sick. And then the way they have this child molestation and child abuse going on. These are my concerns, and I hate the fact that they invest in things that they would definitely disfellowship you for if you were to even partake in these things. And when I saw all of those invoices of the things that they're investing in, that's my concern also. My other concern is their constant flip-flopping back and forth with their teachings and how they are making up their own rules as they go along. And then with that shunning, all of this shunning is horrible. If you're not a strong person, and if you don't have hang out with a meetup, or you don't have a Bible study group, that's a lot of people have tried to commit suicide over this. Those are things that are my concern. Anyway, it's almost midnight, as you see. I'm laying in my bed because before I was in my living room making the videos, and I just came here because I have to get ready for my Christian meeting tomorrow, which I can't wait. I'm going to run. I'm going to just, because I could use the encouragement. And I need the love and the affection. I need to feel some warmth. So as you see, I'm still up. It's almost midnight. I'm going to take sleeping pills because this got my mind really active for tonight. I should have did this earlier because, Anyway, I have Oreo Land here. Look at Fat Boy. Can you see Fat Boy? No, it's because it's dark. But anyway, I'm going to take me 2 sleeping pills so I could try to rest my mind and be refreshed for tomorrow. Anyway, darlings, don't forget to be careful. And if you could help someone avoid falling into a trap, please do. I love you. Bye for now.